Well, this is Tuesday, and this is the normal time that the OneCry podcast is released each week. My name is Byron Paulus, and I'm the founder of OneCry Movement, and I've been blessed to be the recipient, as you have, of the teaching, instruction, the prayers, the experiences, the stories of Bill Elliff and Kyle Reno on this podcast. We're in a different location today. We're down in my study here in Southwest Michigan. And within the next 24 hours, I'm going to be interviewing Kyle Reno and his co-pastor, David Jett. I tweeted yesterday just 3 short sentences, and I said it was from a pastor friend who said, "I can't put into words what just happened. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just got out of church. 106 baptisms and nearly 60,000 views in the last 24 hours after I tweeted that little post. And it was Kyle Reno's church where God moved. And I just thought for our podcast family, especially you as pastors and Christian leaders and you intercessors, what a tremendous thing it would be if I could have just some moments to interview them and ask them what it was like in their local church on Sunday, this past Sunday. And so we're going to be posting that here within the next, hopefully 24 hours, and you'll be hearing directly from them. I can't wait to interview them. I can't wait to hear the stories of what God did in their midst and is continuing to do. What a moment. What a season. What a time to be alive. And many of you that have been connected to ministries that I've been associated with would know that I'm in my 47th, maybe 48th year of revival ministry. Without a doubt, even the Jesus movement days. At this point, I have seen God move in greater dimension, greater ways than I ever have in these 4.5 decades of ministry. I'm getting text, I'm getting reports as you're reading through social media and elsewhere of what God is doing even within the last hour or two. I just got a text saying at a seminary that there are groups of people that are gathering for prayer and seeking God like they haven't for decades perhaps. I've got a report from Baylor University. I wish I could read it to you. I won't take the time now. But at Baylor, they issued a document that has 4 major prayer points on how to be praying right now, as literally hundreds and hundreds of students met last night seeking God to move on their campus. And for administration, for leaders to give direction to how to pray. It's an amazing moment. It's just an unbelievable moment. My heart leaps with all that God is doing right now. And when I think of revival and I think of what's happening now, what comes back to my heart and my mind is that revival truly is a sovereign act of God. No one predicted that in these days, in this time frame right now, that God would be moved. No one tried to manufacture. No one tried to manipulate or make this happen. It's a sovereign act of God. Revival is also sudden. When God moves, it is sudden. And this was sudden. It was like God just descended and decided to tabernacle for this season of time among believers, on campuses particularly, but also in churches around our nation, and I am sure beyond that. So it is a sovereign act of God. It's a sudden work of God. And I wrote down too that it's a supernatural work of God. I love the fact that no one's going to be able to take credit except God, that this is so extraordinary, so beyond normal what God is doing. No one can program it. I think of how I've often talked about the Third Great Awakening and how there were not enough public buildings in New York City to hold the number of people that wanted to pray. I talk about the Second Great Awakening and how near Wilmore, Kentucky, in Lexington, the Cane Ridge Revival, where the nearest city was Lexington with a population of 1,800 people, how over 20,000 people showed up for 3 days in order to seek God and to worship Him and to take communion together. 10 times or beyond the population of the nearest city. And now in Wilmore, a population of 6,000, some 20,000 or more gathered on this past Saturday, I believe it was. And literally, they had to put signs up on the road saying, revival over capacity, no entry. That the authorities had to stop the traffic coming into Wilmore. God is on the move, doing the supernatural. And then finally, I really sense, as has been true throughout history of genuine, authentic moves of God, that this is a season of sacredness. I love hearing the stories and sensing that when you walk into that place there in Asbury, or you walk into that vicinity, it's like there's a cloud of sacredness that is permeating that area, that we as leaders, you as a leader, we don't want to touch what God's doing. We just want to open up the door and say, God, you have your way. We don't want to in any way taint the work of your Spirit. We don't want to quench. We don't want to taint. We don't want to divert. We just want you, God, to have your way in this very divine moment. Now, I just want to say one other thing, and then I pray that you will come back and search for the podcast where I interview Kyle and David. But this Thursday night, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock Eastern Time, most of you know it, it's the National Annual Collegiate Day of Prayer. Every campus that has been identified, over 4,000 have been adopted in prayer. And originating from Hughes Auditorium there at Asbury, there will be a simulcast that go out over 400 campuses and maybe many more by now, and who know how many hundreds or thousands of other locations. But there will be a 2-hour prayer gathering to seek God for a revival. I don't find it coincidental, but only providence of God, that location was selected by really our OneCry leadership team, along with the leaders of the Collegiate Day of Prayer, over 6 months ago, before anything broke out at Asbury. We decided, for whatever reason, that would be a great location to be able to gather for the simulcast this year. It's the 200th anniversary of the Collegiate Day of Prayer from the very first one of when it was established. And it lied dormant for over 100 years, but was resurrected just a few years ago. And now we are being able to, this Thursday night, from the epicenter of where God is at work, we are able to simulcast the Collegiate Day of Prayer. Major networks are carrying it live. God is bringing his people together this Thursday night to seek his face in ways that through technology can be done today that never could have been done previously. So I trust this Thursday night you'll set it aside. You'll pray. You'll adopt campuses. Go to collegiatedayofprayer.com or go to onecry.com. You'll be able to watch it live stream this Thursday night from the Hughes Auditorium at Asbury College in Wilmore, Kentucky. Thank you for being a part of our OneCry podcast family. And again, within 24 hours, I'll be right back here, and I can't wait to hear the stories of what happened at Cross Gates Church in Brandon, Mississippi, where Kyle Reno is now pastor. God bless you. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep believing. This is only a mercy drop compared to all that God can do, and I believe longs to do right now in our midst. God bless you.